Annabel was a beautiful and hardworking young lady from Leguru village. She always told herself that she would marry a fine and handsome man. She helped her mother sell fresh fish in the market while studying at Abia Polytechnic. Daniel, on the other hand, was an illiterate butcher from Umidike village. He couldn't even spell his name. He had no house of his own and lived with his cousin, who sometimes left the room for him, making it seem like it was his. But one thing stood out about Daniel, his voice. When he sang Christian songs, it felt as if heaven would open. He was also very handsome, and women admired him. One day at the market, while Annabel was alone in her mother's shop, she heard Daniel singing. His voice melted her heart. She turned to look at him, and immediately, she fell in love. That was how their love story began. Daniel told her that he had a girlfriend, but Annabel didn't care. "You are not married to her," she said. "May the best person win." But Daniel was not in love with Annabel. He was a selfish and stingy man who only dated for what he would gain. Annabel, blinded by love, started spending money on him. She bought him expensive shoes and clothes. Whenever she went shopping with her friends, she would lie and say Daniel gave her the money. Because of her hard work, when she started her one-year industrial training (IT), her mother handed over the fish business to her. Then, Daniel showed his true colors. The first thing he did was steal from his own business. The money he was supposed to return after selling his meat. He used it to play lotto and drink beer. He started acting like a rich man with nothing in his pocket. Soon, he was completely broke. He stopped going to the market and stayed indoors. One morning, cooperative officials came to his house and arrested him for not paying his loan. Then Annabel heard about it. She rushed to the police station. She paid off his debt and even gave him 500,000 Nigerian nairas to start his business again. Annabel believed in love. She believed in Daniel. No matter how much people warned her, she refused to listen. She was deeply in love with him, and she thought he would change. After paying off Daniel's debt, she gave him 500,000 Nigerian nairas to restart his business. She expected him to be grateful, to finally become responsible. But Daniel was a man who loved pleasure more than hard work. Instead of using the money to buy meat and build his business, Daniel started living like a big man. He bought expensive clothes, the latest wristwatches, and designer shoes. He moved around town like a prince, drinking in expensive bars, eating in fancy restaurants, and playing lotto every day. He even started borrowing money from his friends, lying to them that he had a big business deal coming. Annabel noticed his behavior, but she ignored it. Maybe he just wants to enjoy life a little, she told herself. He will settle down soon. But Daniel had no plans of settling down. Pressures keep spending on him. Annabel was the one doing everything. When Daniel needed money for anything, he came to her. "Baby, I need money to buy meat for my business," he would say. Annabel would give him. "Baby, my shoes are old. I need new ones," would buy them for him. "Baby, I lost money in business today. Can you help me?" Annabel would rush to assist him. Little did she know that the money she was giving him was being spent on other women. Daniel was now seeing different girls in town, taking them out, buying them gifts, and enjoying himself while Annabel was busy working hard at the market. Then, one day, Annabel missed her period. She didn't want to believe it at first. But after a few weeks, she started feeling sick. She went to a clinic, and the test confirmed it. She was pregnant. Annabel was both happy and scared. She was happy because she loved Daniel and wanted to be with him forever. But she was scared because she knew her mother would not take the news well. When she told Daniel about the pregnancy, his reaction was not what she expected. He sighed and scratched his head. "So what do you want me to do now?" Annabel was shocked. "What do you mean?" "We need to plan our future. We have to get married." Daniel shrugged. Marriage is expensive. Where will I get the money? Annabel felt a sting in her heart, but she quickly smiled. Don't worry, my love. I will support you. I have some savings. I can give you the money to pay my bride price. Daniel's face brightened immediately. Really? You will do that for me? Annabel nodded. Oh, my love, you are the best woman in the world, Daniel said and hugged her. But deep in his heart, he wasn't happy about the pregnancy. He saw it as a trap, something that would tie him down when he still wanted to enjoy life. Since Annabel had agreed to finance the wedding, Daniel agreed to marry her. A date was fixed for the traditional wedding. Annabel withdrew all her savings and gave Daniel the money to pay her bride price. She bought the food, the drinks, and even paid for the musicians who would perform at the wedding. Everything that was spent on that day came from Annabel's pocket. But Annabel didn't mind. She was already 7 months pregnant and was just happy that she was finally becoming a wife. Her mother noticed that Daniel wasn't putting any effort into the wedding preparations. She also saw the way he carried himself, acting as if he was doing Annabel a favor by marrying her. My daughter, are you sure about this? Her mother asked one evening. Are you sure this man loves you? Yes, Mama, Annabel said with a smile. He is a good man. He just needs time to become better. Her mother sighed and shook her head. I just hope you are not making a mistake, ignored her mother's concerns. A few days before the wedding, there was a burial ceremony in Daniel's family compound. A distant uncle had passed away, and the entire village came to mourn. Annabel decided to go to Daniel's house to support him. She stayed in his room while the burial was going on outside. But as she sat on his bed, she heard whispers outside the window. That girl no even Subby say Daniel get another woman, a voice said. Annabel froze. Not true, oh. Daniel don't use this girl like ATM. Meanwhile, him real girlfriend go soon born for him. Annabel felt her heart stop. She immediately opened the window slightly and peeped. She saw 2 women gossiping in the backyard. Could it be true? Could Daniel be cheating on her? Her hands shook as she stepped out of the room and went to look for him. She found him behind the house, laughing with some men. Daniel, I need to talk to you, she said, her voice trembling. Daniel followed her to a quiet place. Are you cheating on me? She asked directly. Daniel's face changed immediately. Who told you that nonsense? I heard people talking. They said you have another woman. That you have been using me for money while your real girlfriend is pregnant. Daniel's eyes flashed with anger. So you believe rumors more than me? I need to know the truth, Daniel. Stop acting like a child, Annabel. I deserve to know, slap. Annabel staggered back, holding her cheek. Her eyes widened in shock. Daniel had slapped her. She stared at him, unable to believe what had just happened. Don't ever question me again, he growled. Tears rolled down her face. Without another word, she turned and walked away. Daniel didn't chase after her. He didn't even care that he had hurt her. But later that night, when he realized that the wedding might not happen, he rushed to her house. He knelt in front of her, crying. Baby, I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. Please forgive me. Annabel looked at him, her heart still aching. I love you, Annabel, he continued. Please don't leave me. I will change. After a long silence, Annabel wiped her tears. She believed in love. She believed people could change. So she forgave him. Finally, the traditional marriage day came. Everyone was there, family, friends, and villagers. Daniel acted like the perfect groom, smiling and dancing. But unknown to everyone, it was Annabel who had paid for everything. She had bought her own bride price. She had paid for the food and drinks. She had funded the entire wedding. But in her heart, she was happy. She thought she was finally getting the love she had always wanted. She was already 7 months pregnant, and soon, she would move into her husband's house. She believed she was about to start a happy life. Annabel was now officially Daniel's wife. But she had no idea she had just walked into the worst nightmare of her life. For the first week of their marriage, everything seemed fine. Daniel acted like a good husband, at least for a short while. He was sweet to Annabel, even helping her fetch water and sometimes frying the fish she sold at the market. He told her sweet words at night, making her feel like she had made the right decision. But after 1 week, the real Daniel came back. Daniel squanders his business money again. Annabel had used the last of her savings to fund the wedding, believing that her husband would now be serious with his business. But within a few days, Daniel started spending recklessly again. The small money left from his meat business, he used it to drink beer. The capital Annabel had helped him raise, he wasted it on gambling. He even started borrowing money again, lying that he was expecting big profit from his business. Annabel was frustrated. "Chigazi, what is wrong with you? Why can't you manage money well?" she asked one evening. "Stop talking like a small child," he snapped. "Is it not my money? But you are not even using it for the business. Leave me alone, woman," he shouted and stormed out of the house. Since she was the only responsible one in the marriage, Annabel started keeping her money hidden. Anytime she made money from selling fish, she would take part of it to her mother's house for safekeeping before returning home. She knew Daniel too well, he would take every kobo if he found it. And she was right. Whenever Annabel returned home with money, Daniel would wait for her to sleep before waking up in the middle of the night to search the entire house. He would open bags, lift mattresses, check behind the cupboard, everywhere, looking for money. But Annabel had outsmarted him. One particular night, he became desperate. It was past midnight. The entire compound was quiet. Precious, who was heavily pregnant, was sleeping peacefully when Daniel suddenly shook her awake. "Where is the money?" he demanded. Annabel was confused. "What money?" "The money you brought home today. Where is it?" Annabel sat up, staring at him in shock. "Are you mad? Do you think I'm foolish enough to keep money in this house when I have a husband like you?" Daniel's face turned dark with anger. "You think you are smart, Abi? So you now keep secrets from me?" "Secrets?" Precious yelled. "Do you even deserve to be called a husband? When last did you bring money for food in this house?" "Don't talk to me like that, woman," he growled. Annabel stood up from the bed, her belly heavy with their unborn child. "Tell me, Daniel, when last did you contribute to this house? When last did you buy even a cup of rice? Do you even care that I am carrying your child?" Daniel didn't say anything. He just stared at her angrily. "Have you even asked me if I have bought baby clothes? Or diapers? Or anything for the child we are expecting? Stop shouting before you wake the entire compound," Daniel warned. "But it is the truth." Annabel fired back. "You are a useless husband." Daniel's fist clenched. Annabel didn't care. She had had enough. "You only know how to beg for money," she continued. "You don't know how to hustle like a real man. Look at you, married, but still living like a street boy." By now, their voices had woken up the entire compound. Neighbors peeped through their windows, listening. But nobody came out. They all knew what kind of man Daniel was. Nobody wanted to interfere. The next morning, Daniel was still boiling with anger. Annabel had insulted him, embarrassed him in front of the entire compound. He couldn't take it anymore. As she prepared to leave for the market, he blocked the door. "You will not leave this house until you give me money." Annabel sighed. "You will not see one kobo from me again, Daniel." That was all it took. Daniel exploded in rage and attacked her. A heavy slap landed on her face, sending her crashing to the ground. Before she could recover, he kicked her right in the stomach. Annabel screamed in pain. "You think you can insult me and go free?" he roared, kicking her again. Annabel tried to crawl away, but Daniel grabbed her by the hair and dragged her across the floor. "You this useless woman. You think you are better than me?" He punched her. He kicked her. He slapped her repeatedly. Annabel was screaming, begging for mercy. But Daniel didn't stop. He only stopped when the landlord of the house, an elderly man, rushed in and pulled him away. "Are you trying to kill your wife?" the landlord shouted. Annabel lay on the ground, crying, her belly throbbing with pain. Neighbors gathered outside, whispering among themselves. Some felt sorry for her, others shook their heads. "She chose this life," one woman muttered. "We warned her about this man." 2 days later, Annabel started feeling strange. At first, she thought it was just the pains from Daniel's beating. But then, she felt a sharp contraction. Then another. Her water broke. She was in labor. Since it was her first pregnancy, she didn't know what to do. The pain was unbearable. She cried out for help, but Daniel was nowhere to be found. One of the neighbor women quickly called the local midwife in the compound. "She can't go to the hospital," the midwife said. "She is already too weak. She would deliver here." Annabel cried. This was not what she had imagined. She had planned to give birth in a good hospital, with doctors attending to her. But now, because of Daniel, she was about to bring her child into the world in a small, dirty room with no proper care. For hours, she struggled in pain. She screamed and cried, sweating and shivering. And finally, after long, agonizing hours, her baby was born. It was a boy. A beautiful, healthy baby boy. But as Annabel held her child for the first time, she was not happy. Tears rolled down her face. She looked at her son and wondered, what kind of life had she brought him into? What kind of father did he have? What kind of future awaited him? She wept. She had made the worst mistake of her life. But little did she know, the worst was yet to come. Annabel had barely healed from childbirth when Daniel returned to his wicked ways. If she thought having his child would make him more responsible, she was wrong. The man she married had no shame, no conscience, and no heart. Every morning, Daniel woke up and went straight to the kitchen. He didn't care if Annabel had eaten or if there was any food left for her. He would eat everything. One morning, Annabel entered the kitchen and found an empty pot. "Annabel," she called angrily. He was lying on the bed, stretching lazily. "What is it again, woman? You finished all the food?" she asked in disbelief. "And so?" He yawned. "Are you the only woman who has given birth?" Annabel felt tears stain her eyes. She was still weak from childbirth, breastfeeding their baby, and struggling to do everything alone. Yet, the only person who should have been helping her was making her life worse. "Daniel, don't you have a conscience?" she asked. "You ate everything, and you didn't even leave some for me." Daniel sat up, frowning. "If you don't like it, you can leave." Every day, Daniel found new ways to make her life miserable. Whenever Annabel complained about money, he would slap her. Whenever she refused to give him money, he would beat her. One day, when she was carrying their baby, he pushed her so hard that she almost fell with the child. "Daniel, you will kill me in this house," she cried. "And so? If you die, I will marry another woman," he shouted back. Annabel could not believe what she was hearing. She had given everything to this man, yet he treated her worse than an animal. One afternoon, Annabel was sitting in the market, selling fish, when an elderly man stopped by her stall. "My daughter," he said, "I have been watching you for some time now. You are too young for this kind of suffering. You always look tired, and I see how your husband treats you. Leave him before he kills you. Annabel looked at him, shocked. But he is my husband, she whispered. A husband is supposed to protect his wife, not destroy her, the man said. Run before it is too late. Annabel thought about it for a long time. Maybe the man was right. Maybe she needed to leave. But instead of keeping quiet, she made the worst mistake and she told Daniel. That evening, when Daniel returned home, she told him about the man's advice. You are listening to outsiders now, he asked, his voice dangerously low. He only told me to be careful, Daniel, she said, trying to explain. Before she could finish, Daniel grabbed a wooden stool and flung it at her. She dodged it just in time. Next time, I will kill you, he roared. The next day, while Annabel was in the market, arranging her fish, Daniel appeared out of nowhere. Without warning, he grabbed her by the neck and slapped her in front of everyone. Women screamed. Market sellers stopped what they were doing. Daniel, stop. Annabel cried, struggling. Tell that man to mind his business. You are my wife. You belong to me. Daniel shouted, dragging her across the market floor. The market women rushed to separate them. Daniel, you are mad, one woman yelled. Leave her alone, another shouted. Daniel spat on the ground and walked away, leaving Annabel in tears. She was no longer a wife, she was his slave. And the worst part. She was stuck. She had no money left. She had a baby to take care of. She had nowhere to go. But she had no idea, something even worse was coming. She had thought that maybe, just maybe, having more children would make Daniel change. Maybe he would finally realize his responsibilities as a father and a husband. But Daniel only became worse. Daniel's temper grew worse. He would beat Annabel over the smallest things, if the soup was not hot enough, if the children cried too much, if she did not greet him properly. Every day, Annabel lived in fear. She knew that at any moment, Daniel could snap. She had no money left. No strength left. No hope left. She was trapped in a marriage that was slowly killing her. One night, Annabel had just returned from the market, exhausted and in pain. Her pregnancy was making her weak, but she still had to work because Daniel refused to provide for the family. She dropped her basket and went to check on the children. But before she could even sit down, Daniel stormed into the room. Where is the money? He demanded. Annabel frowned. What money? Don't play dumb with me, he shouted. You went to the market today. Where is the money? Annabel sighed, rubbing her belly. Daniel, the money I made today is for the children's food. I can't keep giving you everything. Before she could react, Daniel grabbed her by the hair and slapped her. 1 slap, 2 slaps, 3 slaps. She fell to the floor, crying. Give me the money, he roared. Annabel held her stomach, terrified for her unborn child. The next morning, Annabel's mother arrived. She had had enough. She had warned Annabel about Daniel, but Annabel had been blinded by love. Now, her daughter was suffering, and she could no longer keep quiet. As soon as she entered the compound, she saw Annabel with a swollen face and bruises all over her arms. Daniel, she shouted. Come out. Daniel stepped outside, his face full of anger. What is it, old woman? He sneered. Annabel's mother pointed at him. How dare you beat my daughter like this? Is this what marriage is to you? Is this how your father treated your mother? Daniel laughed mockingly. She is my wife. I can do whatever I want. You are a monster. Annabel's mother shouted. If you lay your hands on my daughter again, I will. Before she could finish her sentence, Daniel did the unthinkable. He rushed at his mother-in-law and slapped her across the face. The sound of the slap echoed across the compound. Everyone froze. Women screamed, children ran inside. Annabel watched in horror as her own husband beat her mother right in front of her. Slap. 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 Her mother stumbled and fell to the ground, crying. Annabel's heart pounded in her chest. Something inside her snapped. She knew she had made a mistake. She knew this was not love. Annabel knew she couldn't stay in that house anymore. After what Daniel did to her and her mother, she had reached her breaking point. That night, she packed her bags. She carried her 2 children, one on her back, the other holding her hand. She walked out of Daniel's house and never looked back. When she arrived at her mother's house, her mother welcomed her with open arms. "My daughter, you have made the right choice," she said. "I will never let that man harm you again." For the first time in a long time, Annabel felt safe. She thought it was over. But Daniel was not done with her yet. 2 weeks passed. One morning, as Annabel was washing clothes outside, she looked up and froze. Daniel was standing at the gate. He was holding a Bible in his hand. He had a sad, pitiful look on his face. "Annabel," he said, his voice trembling. "I have come to beg you." Annabel ignored him. He knelt down right there on the sand. "Please, my wife," he said, tears rolling down his face. "I have changed. I am a new man. I am nothing without you and the children." Annabel turned away. Her heart was weak. Her mother stepped outside and saw him. "Daniel, leave this place," she shouted. "You will never see my daughter again." But before she could say more, Annabel did the unthinkable. She faced her mother with anger. "Why are you always against my marriage?" she yelled. Her mother was shocked. "Annabel, are you defending this man? You never liked him." Annabel screamed. "You always wanted my marriage to fail. You want me to be like you, a lonely old woman." Her mother held her chest, shocked beyond words. "You are making a mistake," her mother said, shaking her head. But Annabel refused to listen. That night, she stopped talking to her mother. She refused to eat the food her mother cooked. She refused to even look at her. Daniel, seeing that Annabel was already on his side, took advantage. He refused to go back to his house again. He started living in the house. Every morning, he would wake up before everyone and start singing Christian songs loudly. "Lord, I am a changed man." The whole compound could hear his voice. Neighbors said among themselves, "Is this not the same Daniel who beat his wife and her mother? This man is a pretender." But Annabel believed him. One morning, Annabel's mother came out of her room and saw Daniel in the kitchen. He had dished food for himself and was eating comfortably. "Daniel," she screamed. "Who gave you the right to enter my kitchen and eat my food?" Daniel licked his fingers and smiled. "Oh, Mama," he said, "are we not family?" "Family," she shouted. "You are a jobless man living in my house." Annabel ran out from the room. "Mama, why are you shouting at my husband?" she asked angrily. "Your husband," her mother said. "This man is only here because you are foolish." "Then I will leave," Annabel shouted. "Since you don't want me in your house, I will go back to my home with my husband and children." Her mother's eyes filled with tears. "Annabel, don't do this," she begged. "If you go back, you may not survive it." But Annabel had made up her mind. She packed her bags again. This time, Daniel was the one smiling. He had won. 1 week of love before the storm. For the first time in a long while, Annabel felt happy. Daniel had changed, or so she thought. He was suddenly caring, loving, and gentle. He would wake up early to sweep the compound. He would buy her roasted corn and pear when coming back from the market. At night, he would hold her close and whisper, "My love, I will never hurt you again. Annabel believed him. She believed him so much that she decided to start a house project. Her dream was to have a home of her own. A place where she and her children would never suffer again. But not everyone was happy about it. One evening, the landlord and some village elders visited her. They sat her down and spoke with deep concern. "My daughter," the eldest man started. "You are a wise woman, but this step you are taking is dangerous." Annabel frowned. "I don't understand, Papa. This land belongs to Daniel's late father," another elder said. "But your husband is not the first son. In Igbo land, it is the first son that inherits the family compound," the landlord added. "Since this is the only land his family has, you should take a small portion and build. Leave space for the other 3 sons." But Annabel refused. "It is my money," she snapped. "If they want land, let them buy their own." The elders shook their heads. "You have been warned," the eldest one said. "Do not say we did not tell you." Annabel ignored them. She poured all her money into the house. She even took a loan to make sure the house reached the lintel stage. Little did she know, she was building her own suffering. Daniel returns to his old ways. At first, Daniel was quiet. He allowed her to build in peace. He acted like he supported her. But then, he started stealing her money again. Whenever Annabel kept money in the house, it would disappear. Whenever she saved money for food, it would vanish. She knew who was taking it. But she kept quiet. She told herself, "Let me finish this house first." Until one evening, when something terrible happened. Daniel almost killed his own daughter. Annabel was in the kitchen, cooking. Her daughter was in the parlor, playing with her food instead of eating it. Daniel walked in and saw her. "You are wasting food," he shouted. Before anyone could say anything, he grabbed the child and started beating her. The little girl screamed, "Papa, please. I will eat." But Daniel didn't stop. He beating her like he was fighting an adult. Annabel heard the child's screams and rushed into the room. "Daniel, stop. You will cry her," she cried, trying to pull him away. Instead of stopping, Daniel turned to Annabel. He pushed her so hard that she fell on the floor. Then he rushed inside the room. When he came out, he was holding a machete. Annabel's heart stopped. "Jesus Christ," she screamed. Daniel did not use the sharp side. But he used the flat side of the machete to flog her mercilessly. He flogged her until she fainted. Daniel suddenly realized what he had done. He started shouting, "Somebody help. My wife is going." People in the compound rushed out. They poured water on Annabel until she regained herself. Her body was covered in blood and bruises. Her children were screaming in fear. The landlord pushed through the crowd. "Enough is enough," he shouted. He turned to Daniel with pure anger. "You are a useless man. How can you be staying in a free house and still have the mind to be at your wife?" Daniel kept quiet. "Pack your things and leave this compound," the landlord commanded. Annabel suddenly fell on her knees and started begging. "Please, sir, don't send us away. We have nowhere to go." "You are begging for a man who almost killed you," the landlord asked in shock. Tears filled her eyes. She looked at her children. She looked at Daniel. She looked at the half-built house she had sacrificed everything for. For the first time in her life, she didn't know what to do. She had nowhere to go, so she stayed. Precious did not leave. Even after the landlord gave them a quick notice, she had nowhere else to go. So she begged the landlord and he still forgave them. Her mother had already warned her, "If you leave your husband's house, don't come here." She had no choice. She stayed. She gave birth to a baby boy. Yet, the suffering did not end. Even as she nursed her newborn baby, Daniel did not change. It didn't matter if she was carrying the baby or breastfeeding, Daniel would hit her whenever he felt like it. One night, the baby was crying. Annabel tried to calm him down. "Keep that child quiet." Daniel barked. "He is hungry," Annabel said softly. "I need to find something for him to eat. Please, can you help carry him so I can enter the kitchen?" Daniel walked to where she was sitting and slapped her. "Go and look for food. Or should I kill you and the baby?" Annabel stayed awake all night, rocking her baby, tears rolling down her cheeks. The suffering was too much. The thinking was too much. People started noticing her change. She was always lost in thought. She would sit outside, staring at nothing, muttering to herself. Sometimes she would laugh. Sometimes she would cry. The neighbors whispered among themselves, "She's going mad. Daniel has finished her." But Daniel did not care. He was getting fat while she was going down. When her baby turned 1, Annabel couldn't take it anymore. One evening, she packed her things and walked out of the house. She left all her children behind. She returned to her mother's house. She did not tell anyone. She just left. But even as she was there, her heart was with her children. Whenever she cooked, she would look for anyone from her husband's compound and secretly give them food. "Give this to my children," she would say. The person would nod and leave. She knew that Daniel was no longer going to the market. He had turned completely useless, yet, when the food arrived, he would eat it. Her children started looking like orphans with no mother to bathe them, no father to care for them. The children started suffering. They walked around without clothes. Their hair was dirty. Their skin was dry and pale. They looked like children without parents. Neighbors watched in pity. "How can a man allow his children to suffer like this?" they murmured. But nobody dared to confront Daniel. One afternoon, as Annabel was selling in the market, the landlord walked up to her. She looked up and froze. "Annabel, I need to talk to you," the landlord said. Annabel dropped the fish she was holding. "Yes, sir," she answered softly. The landlord shook his head. "You refused to leave when you had 1 child. But now you left all of them and ran away. Who did you leave them for?" Annabel looked down. "Come and see how your children are suffering. No clothes. No food. No guidance. Is that what you want?" Tears welled up in her eyes. The landlord sighed. "Come back and take care of your children." Then he turned and walked away. That night, Annabel could not sleep. She tossed and turned. Her mother noticed and asked, "What is wrong with you?" Annabel did not answer. She just stared at the ceiling. Should I go back, she thought. Should I return to that house? But another voice whispered, "If you go back, he will cry you one day." Annabel closed her eyes crying. But she couldn't stop thinking. Annabel returned home. The landlord wasted no time. He called her and Daniel and gave a final warning. "As long as you are under my roof, never in your life should you raise your hand against your wife again." Daniel nodded quickly. "Yes, sir, I have changed." But Annabel knew better. He was just pretending. After 1 month, Annabel took a motorbike on hire purchase. It seemed like a new beginning. But nothing really changed. Annabel was still the one feeding the family. Every weekend, Daniel would drop 2,000 Nigerian nairas for food. "This is too small," Annabel complained one day. "Is it my fault that you are a woman?" Daniel snapped. "If it is too small, then don't eat." Annabel sat in silence. The man was making money but spending it outside. Every night, he would come back late, smelling of alcohol. Yet, he never missed eating her food. Even if it was the last meal meant for the children, Daniel would eat it without shame. One evening, Annabel sat alone and asked herself, "Why did I even marry this man?" A voice in her head answered, because he was fine and had a sweet melody voice. She felt stupid. She had married for the wrong reasons. And now, she was suffering the consequences. Annabel stopped allowing him to touch her. Daniel noticed. At first, he ignored it. But after 2 months, he couldn't take it anymore. One evening, he lost control. He ran outside, into the compound, shouting like a madman. "Everybody come and see!" "Oh," he screamed. "For 2 months now, my wife has refused me from touching her." People gathered. Women peeked through their windows. Men stood, shaking their heads. Daniel Neal was shameless. "Am I not a man?" he continued. "I know she has found another man outside, but she will regret it." Annabel refused to answer him. She knew his game. He wanted her to fight back so he could beat her again. But she had learned her lesson. She ignored him and walked inside. One night, Daniel came home looking for money. He searched everywhere but found nothing. "Where is the money?" he asked. "Which money?" Annabel replied. That was the moment he snapped. He pounced on her. The fight was terrible. This time, Annabel fought back. For the first time in her life, she refused to cry. She refused to beg. She kicked. She punched. She scratched. And when it was over, she made up her mind. "I am done." That night, she left. She carried her children and walked away. She did not look back. For the first time in years, she felt free. Daniel was shocked. He thought she would return like before. He waited 1 week, then 2 weeks, then 3, then he realized she was not coming back. Daniel went to beg. He knelt before her, crying like a baby. "Please forgive me." Annabel looked at him. And for the first time, she felt nothing, no love, no pain, just emptiness. "Leave," she said coldly. "Please, I will change." I said leave. Daniel refused to stand up. Annabel stood up and walked inside, locking the door behind her. And that was it. She was finally free.